Hello guys, greetings from Placement Skill. I welcome you all to the lecture series on the TCS NQT. I'll be covering the exact questions that were asked on 27th October 2020, and then it's slot 1 paper. I've already covered the first part earlier. Now I'll be continuing with the second part. The salary in rupees of 10 employees in a company per day. Okay, so there are 10 employees and these are their respective salaries per day. What is the standard deviation of the above data? Fine. So first, what is the mean salary of all these 10 employees per day? What is mean? Sum of observations by number of observations. So what is it? 50 plus 55 plus 60 plus 65. Add all of this and then divide by 10 employees. There are 10 observations. So if you add all of this, you get 700. So 700 by 10. Therefore, you get the mean salary of these employees per day is 70. Yeah. Now, what is the formula for standard deviation? It is square root of sigma xi minus mu whole square divided by n, where n is the number of observations and mu is the mean. Yeah. So in this context, so how do we get this? This is what square root of, we get xi, yeah, which is 50 minus the mean is 70 whole square, or let me write down the formula first. Yeah, minus, what do we get here? We get x1 minus mu whole square plus x2 minus mu whole square plus so on. Finally we get x10 minus mu whole square, okay, divided by n, the number of observations, which is 10 in this case. Is it clear? So let's substitute the values here. So what do we get? Instead of x1, see this is x1, this is x2, this is x3, so on, and this is x10. So we'll just have to write down the deviation from the mean from each of these observations. So what do we get? Square root of, what do we get? I'm directly writing it. X1 is 50 and then we have mu is 70. So 50 minus 70, you get minus 20 whole square plus 55 minus 70. So minus 15 whole square plus the third observation is 60. So 60 minus mean, 60 minus 70 is minus 10. So minus 10 whole square. Let's write down for all the values. Plus what do we get? 65 minus 70. So we get minus 5 square plus 70 minus 70 is 0 square. 72 minus 70 is 2 square. 75 minus 70 is 5 square plus 10 square. For 80 it's 10, for 84 it is 14 square, and then for 89 it is 19 square. Yeah, so we have written down the deviation from the means and then squared them. Yeah, all divided by, we have 10. Okay, so this is what we are supposed to compute. Now you can always use the on-screen calculator in TCS here. So I'm writing down the value of this. Okay, so what do we get? We get it as square root of the entire sum. We get it as 1436. Okay, so 1436 is what we get, and then divided by 10. Okay, so effectively what do we get? We get it as square root of 143.6. okay, so this value we get it as square root of 143.6. Now what is the value? Again you can use the on-screen calculator. See, this is very close to 12 square 144, so it should be somewhere close to 11.9 11.98. yeah, therefore the answer is what? Option C. See, I'm just taking the approximation here because square root of 144 is 12. You can always use the calculator to compute the exact value. Yeah, therefore the standard deviation is 11.98 something, so option C. Okay, mean of 29 observations is 33. On adding one more observation, I'm sorry, this is how the question should be. Okay, mean of 29 observations is 33. Now on adding one more observation, the new mean becomes 34. Okay, what is the value of the 30th observation? Now we are given the mean of 29 observations is 33. Okay, therefore what is the sum of 29 observations? Mean is sum by n, so therefore sum is mean into n. So you get 33 into 29, so you get this value. Okay, so what is the value? 33 into 29, 9 3 is 27, 9 3 is 27, 29, 236, 236, so 7, 15 and then 9, so you get it as 957. So that is the sum of the 29 observations. Now similarly we are given that the mean of the 30 observations is 34. Why? Because on adding one more observation to 29, the mean has increased to 34. So the mean of 30 observations is 34. So we get the sum of 30 observations is how much? It is 34 into 30, which is how much? It is 1020. Yeah, Fine. So now how do we find the 30th observation? See, this is the sum of 29 observations and this is the sum of 30 observations. So if you subtract these two, you get the 30th observation, right? So how do we get it? 1020 minus 957. So what is the value that you get? You get it as 63. Therefore, the value of this 30th observation is 63. It's a very easy question. Okay. Now, if not this, we can also go about it using a shortcut. What is that? See, we know that average is equal to the average means the equal distribution. Okay. So if you say that the mean of 29 observations is 33, so each of the 29 observations has an equivalent value of 33. Is it clear? For all the 29 observations. Okay, because average means equal distribution. Okay. Now what happens? One more person is added, and then the mean has increased to 34. That is, the mean increased by 1. Therefore, we can say that the new person should have the value, or the new observation should have value which is 34 plus, because the mean has to become 34, right? So he should have over and above 34. He should also have something in excess. How much in excess? He should have 1 in excess to everyone. We know that each of them initially had only 33. Now each of them has got one more, because average has become 34, right? So each has got one more now, plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So there were 29 people. So totally the deviation is what? 29 more. Effectively they've got 29 more because of the new person. Therefore the new person should have the value which is 34 plus 29, which again gives us a 63 value. Okay, this you may take some time to understand this, but please try to understand, because or you can always review the video and then learn this, because it's a very easy method. You don't have any equations as such. Okay, the mean of 29 observations is 33. So each had initially 33 chocolates with them. All the 29 members had 33 chocolates with them. Now what happened? There is a new person. Because of the new person, each of these guys have got one more chocolate. So there were 29 such people. So effectively the new person should come along with 29 more chocolates than 34, because it's equal distribution finally. So each of them should have 34, right? So this guy should also have 34. Along with that, he should also have 29 in excess to give one each to the remaining 29 people, so that you get his value should be 63. Right, let's move on to the next question. Cube root of so much is equal to 1 plus so much. Okay, what is the value of a? So first let me explain how to find the cube root of perfect cube numbers. Okay, so what is 1 cube? It is 1. 2 cube is 8. 3 cube is 27. 4 cube is 64. 5 cube is 125. 6 cube is 216. 7 cube is 343. 8 cube is 512. 9 cube is 729. 10 cube is 1000. Okay, now clearly on observation, what can we say? We know 1 cube ends in 1. Similarly, we can also say that 4 cube ends in 4. Similarly, 5 cube ends in 5. Okay, 6 cube ends in 6. 9 cube ends in 9. 0 cube ends in 0. Yeah, so the cube value and the actual value, the unit digits are always same in this case. Okay, they're always same in this case. So let me write it here. 9 cube, you have 9, and 0 cube also you have 0. Okay, now how about others? See, 1, now we have, let's take 2. 2 cube ends in 8 and 8 cube ends in 2. These are pairs. Okay, 2 8. 2 cube ends in 8, 8 cube ends in 2. Similarly, 3 cube ends in 7 and 7 cube ends in 3. Is that clear? So this is to find the unit digits of the cube of the numbers. Okay, so let's take the first question. Okay, which is, what is the cube root of 35,937? I've just taken some random examples. Okay, so how do we compute this? Always group 3 terms at a time from the right. Say we are grouping 3 terms at a time from the right. So 937 and then 035. Okay, now since we have 7 here, we know that if it is 7, so the unit digit of the cube root has to be 3. That's what we have seen, right? 3 cube ends in 7, 7 cube ends in 3. So if it is 7, it has to be 3. Now that is done. Now we have a 35 here. Just see in what range does 35 fall. 35 falls between 3 cube and 4 cube. Yeah, 35 falls between 3 cube and 4 cube, therefore take the least value there, which is 3. Okay, what I'm saying is the range is it lies between 3 cube and 4 cube, so take the smallest value, so therefore this number has to be 3. So what is cube root of 35,937? It is supposed to be 33. Let's apply the same for the next one. Okay, so again grouping 3 terms at a time. I know that this is a perfect cube number. Okay, we are grouping 3 numbers at a time. When it is 1, we know that when it is 1 it has to be 1. Okay, that is fine. Now 226, see in what range that does 226 lie? 226 lies between, see, 6 cube and 7 cube, isn't it? 6 cube value and 7 cube value, yeah, because 6 cube is 216 and 7 cube is 343. So therefore it lies between these two, so we'll always take the lower number in the range, which is 6. Therefore cube root of this value is 61. Okay, let's apply the same concept here. What is cube root of 4913? 4913, again group 3 terms at a time, so that you have 004 and 913. If it is 3, you know it has to be 7. And then you have 4. 4 lies between 1 cube and 2 cube, yeah, therefore we'll take the least value, which is 1. Therefore cube root of 4913, this value is 17. Similarly, what is cube root of 4096? 4096, again group 3 terms, again you get 004 and 096. If it is 6, you know if it is 6 it has to be 6, and then 4 again lies between 1 cube and 2 cube, so the value is 16. Okay, so now the question is simplified, cube root of so much, which is 17 by 16, the value is equal to 1 plus a by 16. So what does that mean? You get, if you send this to the other side, what do we get? 17 by 16 minus 1 can be written as 16 by 16 is equal to a by 16. That implies you get 1 by 16 is equal to a by 16. So you get a value is equal to 1. Okay, we are supposed to find the value of a, which is 1. Yeah, the value of a, which is 1. Fine. 10% of the voters did not cast their votes in an election between two candidates. So if there are only two candidates, let's say A and B. Okay, now 20% of the votes were found invalid. Okay, out of so many people who have voted, 20% were invalid, and the winning candidate got 60% of the valid votes, and he won by a majority of so much. What is the total number of voters who cast their vote? Fine. So for simplifications, let's assume the total number of voters who are eligible to vote be 100x. Yeah, as in there are 100x citizens who are over and above 18 years of age, yeah, something like that. So they are eligible, there are 100x. Now the number of voters who voted, we know that not all eligible voters turned up, only 90% of the voters turned up, because see, 10% did not cast their vote. So how many voters have effectively voted? Only 90%, which is 90x. Okay, next, what are the number of valid votes? We know that out of the total number of voters who voted, 20% of the votes were found invalid. Therefore, only 80% were valid. So 80% of the votes which were voted, that is 90x, they were valid. So 80 into 90, you get 72x. Therefore, the number of valid votes were 72x. Now it's given that winning candidate got, how much? 60% of the valid votes. Okay, that is given. So that implies the candidate who lost the election should have got how many votes? We know that this guy, the winning candidate, got 60% of the valid votes. So the one who has lost should have got 40%, 100% minus 60%, 40% of the valid votes. It's clearly given that the winning candidate won by a majority of 2880. So we can formulate an equation, right? He won by majority of what? 2880 votes. So what is the equation that we can form here? See, winning candidate, what is the majority in terms of percentage? It is 20%, right? Therefore we can say that 20% of the valid votes is equal to 2880. Okay, so therefore what can we say? We can say that the number of valid votes are how many? The number of valid votes are 2880. 20% is 1/5, so it becomes into 5. So 2880 into 5. So we get what? We get 14,400. Therefore we have got the number of valid votes. Okay, now we know that number of valid votes, it is 72x, right? So we have got this 72x is equal to 14,400. Therefore what is the value of x that we get? X is equal to 72 1, 72 2. So you got x value as 200. Okay, what are we supposed to find? We are supposed to find the total number of voters who cast their vote. See how many voters have casted their vote. 90x have casted their vote. So we are supposed to find 90 into x is 200 that we have already got, which is 18,000. Therefore 18,000, option A. Yeah, so many voters have cast their vote. I hope this is clear. We have just written in terms of percentages and then equated that with the value that is given so that we get the number of valid votes, and from there you get the value of x, from there you get the value of 90x. Okay, consider the following pie chart and table. What is the population of village A if the population of illiterates in village C is 2019? In 2019 is 11,250. Fine. See, this is the portion of the population of 5 villages. Okay, so let's assume that that 100x be the total population of all the 5 villages put together. Okay, let's 100x be the total population. So therefore this is the percentage of the population of 5 villages individually. Okay, now what does table 1 say? It says about the percentage of illiterates in each of the villages. Okay, now see, what is the population of village C? Because we are concerned about the village C here, because the value is given, right, 11,250. So what is the population of village C? Village C's population is how much? See, it is this area, the gray area, which is 25%. Yeah, we know the total population is 100x. Therefore the C's population is how much? It is 25% of 100x, which is how much? It is 25x. Okay, now what is the population of illiterates in village C? You know that the percentage of the illiterates is 45%. Therefore the population of illiterates will be how much? It is 45% of the number of the total population in village C, which is 25x. Is that clear? It is 45% of 25x. Okay, so this gives us the population of illiterates in village C. So what do we get here? 25 ones, 25 fours. Yeah, so we get the value as, what is 45 by 4? We get it as 11.25x. Okay, so 11.25x, the value, this value is already given as 11,250. 11,250. So clearly what is the value of x that we get? It is 100. Is it 100? 11.25. So if you multiply, if you divide this, 1125, it is 100. So you get it as 1000, not 100. Yeah, so the value of x is 1000. Okay, now what are we supposed to find? We are supposed to find the population of village A. What is the population of village A? The population of village A, it is blue, which is what? 13%. Yeah, it starts from here, right? This A, this B, C. Orange is B, and then C is what? This gray color, so on and so forth. So this A. So A's population is how much? It is 13%. That is 13x. 13% of 100x. Yes, it is 13x. Therefore the population of village A is, I'll write it again, 13% of 100x. The total population of 5 villages is 13x, which is 13 into 1000, that is 13,000. Okay, just option B. It's a very simple question. Yeah, DI based question. Okay, root 2 is so much, root 3 is so much. What is the value of so much? Yeah, see, whenever we have the surds in the denominator, first the first step is rationalizing. Okay, 3 root 2 minus 2 root 3. So let's rationalize. Let's multiply with the conjugate, which is 3 root 2 plus 2 root 3, and numerator also by 3 root 2 plus 2 root 3. So what do we get effectively? In numerator we have the same thing, 3 root 2 plus 2 root 3. In denominator what do we have? It is a minus b into a plus b. So a square minus b square. A square is how much? It is 3 root 2 whole square. Yeah, which is how much? 9 into 2, that is 18. And what is b square? It is 2 root 3 whole square. So 2 2 is 4, 4 3 is 12. Yeah, so you effectively get as a square, that is 18, minus b square, that is 12. So what is the value that we get effectively? 3 root 2 plus 2 root 3 divided by 16 minus 12 is 6. So let's split these values here. We'll write it as 3 root 2 by 6 plus 2 root 3 by 6. So what do we get? 3 ones, 3 2 6, 2 ones, 2 3 6. So root 2 by 2. Let's compute root 2 by 2. Root 2 is 1.414. So if you divide by 2, what do we get? We get it as 0.707. Yeah, 2 7s 14, 2 7s 14. So this value we've already got 0.707 plus root 3. You know root 3 value is 1.732. Let's divide by 3. 3 ones, 3 what? 3 5s 15, 23, 3 7s 21, 22, 3 7s 21, 3 3 so on. Yeah, you get it as 0.5773 and the 3 repeats. Okay, and let's add these two. Okay, because we are supposed to find this value, right, effectively. So 0.707 plus 0.5773. So you get 3 7 7 14, 8 7 5 12 1. So we get the value as 1.2843. Yeah, and that is exactly given in option D. Okay, so this question is as simple as writing the conjugate and then eliminating the surd in the denominator. Yeah, A can do a piece of work in 72 days. He worked at it alone for 8 days, and then B alone finishes the remaining work in 48 days. In how many days will A and B finish the work if they are working together? See what is given for the initial 8 days. Initial 8 days, A alone has worked. Then what happened? A left. Now the remaining work is done by B alone. Okay, B alone took 48 days to finish the work. Now we are supposed to find if both are working together, how much time will they take to finish the work. Now let's approach it logically. A can do a piece of work in 72 days. Yeah, now what is a portion of the work done by A in 8 days, because he is the only one who has worked for the first 8 days. So in 8 days he finishes how much amount of work? It is 8 by 72, so much portion of the work, which is how much? It is 1/9 of the work. Yeah, so therefore A finishes 1/9 of the work in the first 8 days. Now what happens after that? A left. Yeah, A is not working anymore. So the remaining work, how much is the remaining work? 1/9 work is done, so remaining work is 8/9, and this is done by B alone in how many days? It is given as 48 days. Yeah, therefore B can do 8/9 of the work in 48 days. That is, B can do the total work in how many days? So just send this factor to the other side. It becomes 9 by 8 into 48. So 8 ones 86. So therefore if B is working alone, B finishes the work in 54 days. Is it clear? And we know A alone finishes the work in 72 days. Okay, that's what is given. B alone can finish the total work in 54 days. You got this, right? 8/9 work in 48. So total work in 9 by 8 into 48 days. Now the problem is solved, right? See, working together, A and B can finish the total work in how many days? You know that when A can do piece of work in A days and B alone can do a piece of work in B days, they can finish the work in AB by A plus B days if they are working together. Yeah, please remember this. Okay, therefore here as well, since you are working together, we can, and then uh, they can finish the total work in how many days? It is 72 AB, 72 into 54 by 72 plus 54, which is 126. Okay, so let's simplify this. So 9 what 9 ones 9, 9 fours 36, 9 8 72, and then 2 sevens 14, 2 fours 8. Yeah, so 54 into 4, 54 is 200, and then 16, 216 by 7 days. So what is it? 7 3 is 21, and then you have a 0. Yeah, and then you have 6 remainder. So you get it as 36 by 7 days. 36 by 7 days, that is option A. Okay, the following table gives the expenditure of a company over the given years. Okay, this is the expenditure for the year 2015, and this is the expenditure for the year 2016, 17, 18, 19, and so on. And you have individual heads. How much did the company spend on salary? How much did it spend on transport? So on and so forth. Yeah. Fine. Now what are we supposed to find? What percentage of the total expenditure in 2019 is the total expenditure on all these items in 2016? Fine. So for that, first we need to find the total expenditure of the company in 2016. So what are we supposed to find? We should add all of this. Yeah, these values. Add all of this. You can either compute it manually or go ahead and use the on-screen calculator. So if you add all of this, you get the value as I've already computed that. You get it as 364.7. Okay, now what is the total expenditure of the company in 2018? So what are we supposed to add? We should add these. Yeah, all of this. So if you add all of this, what do we get? We get it as 700. Okay, Now what did they ask for? We are supposed to find the total expense in 2016 as a percentage of total expense in 2018. Okay, I repeat, we are finding the total expense in 2016 as a percentage of total expense in 2018. Okay, so what is the value? It is 364.7 divided by 700 into 100. 100 gone, 7 ones, 7 fives 35, and then 14, 7 twos 14, 7 1 7. So what is the value that you get? 52.1%, which is what? 52.1, option D. It's a very simple question, just the computation, that's it. Okay, if a dealer makes a profit of 20% by selling an article for rupees 18, now by how much percent should he increase his selling price in order to make a profit of 30%? Fine. So first he makes a profit of 20% by selling an article for rupees 18. Therefore what can we say? We can say that 1.2 into selling price is equal to rupees 18. Yeah, 120% of cost price is equal to selling price. So we get the cost price value is how much? 18 by 1.2, which is how much? You get it as rupees 15. Is it 15? 12 ones, yeah, 12 ones 12, and you get 6, 12 5 60. Yeah, so we have got the cost price of the article as rupees 15. Okay. Now to make a profit of 30%, this dealer has to sell the article for 130% of the cost price, right? 130% of the cost price. Cost price is how much? 15. Therefore, he has to sell the article for how much? The 1.3 into 15. Yeah, it is 30% more than 15. That's how we can take. 10% more than 15 is 1.5. So 30% more than 15 will be 4.5 more than 15. So it is 19.5. Therefore, the dealer has to sell the article for 19.5 rupees if he were to make a profit of 30%. Okay. Now, what are we supposed to find? We are supposed to find the increase in selling price. Initially, what was the selling price? The selling price was rupees 18. Okay. Now the selling price is rupees 19.5. So what should be the increase in selling price? It is 1.5 rupees more, which is option A. It's a very easy question. Yeah, you should not take more than 30 seconds to solve this question. Yeah. Okay, if A and B represent the frequencies of the modal class and the median class respectively, what is the value of 3A plus 4B? So first, what is the modal class? Class with the highest frequency. So among this, what is the class with the highest frequency? This class. Yeah, this is the class with the highest frequency. Therefore, this is the modal class. Therefore, we are told that A is the frequency of the modal class, whereas B is the frequency of the median class. So what is A value now? A, we have already got it as 17. So part of the question is solved. Okay. Now, what is the median class? So how do you find the median class? So first we should find the total observations and then divide by 2. Yeah. What are the total observations? You have 12 plus 14, 26. 26 plus 10, 36. 36 plus 17 is 53 plus 7. You get total n. The total number of observations as 60. Therefore, what is the value of n by 2? It is 30. Okay, so finding n by 2 is the first step. Then what are we supposed to find? We are supposed to find the cumulative frequency. Okay, what is cumulative frequency? It is 12 for the first case. Here it is 12 plus 14, that is 26, and here it is 26 plus 10, that is 36. Here it will be 36 plus 17, that is 53. Here it will be 53 plus 7, that is 60. So this is the cumulative frequency. Okay. Okay, so now what are we supposed to find? Now we know that n by 2 value is 30. So we'll have to see which class is closer to and over and above this 30. Okay, is it clear? Closer to and over and above 30. So what is it? The one that is the median class will be this one, because see the number which is over and above 30 is 36. So this class is called the median class. Is it clear? See clearly what we are trying to do is the value 30 lies between these two, right? 26 and 36. Here till here only 26 are covered. Okay. Therefore, the value 30 will be covered in this class, right? So therefore, this is called the median class. Okay. Now what did they say? They told that the frequency of the median class is B. Therefore, what is the value of B? The frequency of the median class. This is the median class, which is 36. Sorry, which is median frequency, right? It is 10. What the value is 10. So we got the value of A, we got the value of B. Now we're just supposed to compute the value of 3A plus 4B. So 3A, which is 51, 3 into 17, 51, plus B, 4B, 4 into 10 is 40. So the value is how much it is? 91, which is option D. As always, you know, this statistics based questions are procedure oriented. Okay, so just follow the standard procedure, you will get the answers. Yeah, thank you everyone, let's meet in the next lecture.